We have several new candidates here. We have Nathan Dahm, who is running for representative for 1st District. Nathan, come on up here. This is a young man. I know I heard a lot of folks say, well, he's so young. How's he going to do it? You know, I'm going to tell you what, you get to meet this young man and you realize this man is really old education-wise. I mean, he's been here a while. He's way beyond most of us in the understanding. I know he's beyond the understanding of a lot of our politicians that are presently in office. So that says a lot. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Nathan and let him give you a few minutes of about him and his vision for his new job as representative.
Well, thank you for having me, Randy. I've had the honor and the privilege of doing several of these and following up Senator Brogdon on several occasions, and he's a tough act to follow, but I will do my best. And like Randy said, there is a lot involved with this. I've been doing this, I've been campaigning actively since August when I launched the Exploratory Committee, and I made my official announcement in November. But one of my favorite quotes is from Thomas Paine. You all know him, he's the one that wrote Common Sense. And he said, "Those who wish to reap the benefits of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigue of supporting it." There is a cost to freedom. There's no such thing as a free lunch. So we all must do our part. We all have a part to play, and we all have to give some of ourselves. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, yes, I have been called an old soul many times before, but I grew up overseas, lived overseas for several years as a missionary, and I was dean of the Bible school, an extension of Rhema out of Broken Arrow in Eastern Europe in Romania. I was the dean of Rhema, Romania for 4 years, from their charter school through 4 years. And I moved back to Oklahoma several years ago. We were always based out of here. This has been my home in Broken Arrow. And as I would come back every year, before I moved back here, I saw this strange thing happening. As Romania was getting out of communism, out of socialism, and embracing free market enterprise, I saw America go in the total opposite direction. I saw government intervention. I saw socialism, fascism, creeping into our country. I like to use that example that we all learned in science class of the frog in boiling water. Take a frog and throw it into boiling water, and it'll jump out. But if you put a frog in water and you slowly turn up the temperature, it'll just sit there and it'll boil. And that's what's been happening to our country. Our country has been slowly going this direction. And not just for a short time. We've really been going this direction for 80 plus years, but we've really accelerated over the last 10 years. And so as I moved back here, after I served over in Romania, I just was wanting to know what God would have me to do and where he would have me to serve. Because that's why I'm running, is simply to serve the people. I believe that there's a sense of duty. One of the greatest ways you can serve God is to serve people. And I think that God needs quality people in every area of government, from the governor's race and the federal government as well. We have state house and city council candidates here as well. We need people in every area of government. That's the way our government is set up to function. I don't know how many of you realize this. Hopefully you all realize we do not have a democracy here in America. We have a republic. I had the privilege a few weeks ago. I spoke to an elementary school over in Broken Arrow, and I was able to teach the kids the difference between a democracy and a republic. And they sang this. They have the preamble to the Constitution memorized, and that was amazing. But then they also sang this rap, and they ended it with, "And that's how things work in our democracy." And that's what they were taught. But I was able to explain to them the difference between a democracy and a republic. And in a republican form of government, we elect people to go and represent us so that we don't have to spend our whole lives being involved in politics, in government. Because let's be honest, nobody likes being involved in politics, in government. I know Rhonda has been doing the 912 project for a long time, and she told her girls, she said, "Listen, I don't like doing this, but we have to do it." That old Ronald Reagan quote, "If not us, who? If not now, when?" We all must get involved, just like Senator Brogdon was talking about. So my goal is to serve the people, to return to the Constitution, to stop this out-of-control spending. Over in Romania, I saw inflation galore. When we first moved over there, if you had 1 million of their currency, you had about $30,000 in US dollars. And that was a good retirement fund in Eastern Europe. When I left Romania, if you went and withdrew that million of their currency that you had in the bank, you would have enough to go to McDonald's and buy meals for a family of 4. You had $30. That's all their currency was worth because of inflation, because they just printed up the money. So I always like to say, it doesn't matter what issue is most important to you, whether it's abortion or the military or states' rights or gun rights or whatever issue is important to you, the economy affects all of them. And we have to get our economy on the right track again. We have to stop this out-of-control spending and stop all these bailouts. We cannot continue to spend ourselves into oblivion, borrow ourselves into oblivion. We cannot do this. The next 4 or 5 generations are so in debt that it's ridiculous. Every one of us here already owes $250,000 on the federal deficit. It is out of control, so we must stop the spending. And the way we do that is elect quality people who are willing to stand up to those in D.C., who are willing to say no. Republicans, and I assume you're all Republicans. If not, we have voter registration forms here. You need to re-register. But Republicans like to say they're the party of no. And they are when the Democrats are in office. We see that now. The Republicans are good about voting no against the health care, against all these things. But where were they under the Bush administration? Where they doubled the deficit? Where they passed Medicare Part B? Where they passed all these unconstitutional legislation? The No Child Left Behind. Where were they in those times? We need quality people that will do what is right all the time, that will follow the Constitution all the time. I think it would be great if we get Senator Brogdon elected as our next governor, that he will stand up against the federal government. But how much better would it be if we had people in the federal government that would also be willing to stand up? So we don't have to wait for it to get back to the states to have to stop it. We can stop it in D.C. first and foremost. So that's why I'm running, is just to stand up for the people, to serve you in any capacity that I can. I served the people of Romania for years, and I just want to have the opportunity to serve you as well, to stand up for your rights, for what's best for you. The Declaration of Independence talks about when a government pursues invariably the same ends of absolute despotism. And that's what our federal government has pursued. They have pursued absolute despotism. And it says we need to install new guards for our future security. And we have the opportunity here in America. We don't have to go the route that they did. We don't have to have a revolution or anything. We can do it in the ballot box. That's how we install our new guards for our security. Just like Senator Brogdon talked about, watchmen on the wall, people that will stand up for us. And so with one other thing I want to close with the Declaration of Independence. The Founding Fathers, when they signed that, they were essentially signing their death warrants because they were going up against the greatest empire in that time. But they closed it and said, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We all have a part to play. Everybody has to do something. Everybody must get involved. We have 73 days until the primary election on July 27th. Just 73 short days to save our republic. So we need to elect quality people that will defend the Constitution, restore the republic, and that will stand for we the people. I always like to talk about, and I always say that my favorite story from the Bible is about David. It talks about a young man who was raised up from among the people, who would do God's whole will and fulfill God's plan. And we have that opportunity before us. But with those 4 things that I mentioned in the Declaration of Independence, first of all, protection from divine providence. You all can pray for these campaigns. Prayer is powerful. And I'm not ashamed that I'm a Christian. I have no problem asking for your prayers because we have a part to play. God will do his part, but man has a part to play as well. The second thing, we pledge to each other our lives. You can give a portion of your life. I'm not asking for your whole life. I'm asking for a few hours for the next 73 days. Find one time a week, one time a month, where you can volunteer for a candidate, for myself, for Senator Brogdon, for any of these candidates that are running. Give a small portion of your life. Your fortune. I'm not asking for your whole fortune either, but a portion of it. You can give of your finances. $5 can go a long way in a campaign. $50 goes even further, and $500 goes even further. But even $5 helps. So I ask that you consider that as well. And then your sacred honor. I ask that you consider pledging your sacred honor by voting for me on July 27th, by letting your family and friends know that you are backing me as a candidate, asking them to vote as well, to get out and actually do something. We cannot wait until the November 2nd primary election. If we do that, it'll be the same old lesser of 2 evils or evil of 2 lessers. Those are the only options we'll have. We must take this back in the primary. So I ask that you just consider helping out in one of those 4 ways. If you have any questions for me, if you'd like to know more about me, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions afterwards, but I don't want to take too much time. So I'll turn it back over to Randy for all the other candidates. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nathan. Glad to have you here.